You are at war, even if you don't realize it. And the enemy is not out there. It's in your habits, your distractions, your hesitation. Most people lose before they begin because they never prepare. But this moment is your turning point. This video didn't find you by accident. It found you because something in you is ready to change, ready to see life as strategy, ready to think like a general, not a follower. Watch closely. Your next move determines everything. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? The chain breaks at its weakest link. The fortress falls at its weakest wall. The army fails at its weakest point. This is not merely military wisdom. It is the fundamental law of strategic warfare. Yet, in the battle for mastery, most warriors ignore this truth. They strengthen what is already strong, focus on what is already developed, celebrate what is already powerful. Meanwhile, their untrained weaknesses prepare their defeat. Understand this critical principle. You are not as strong as your strongest attribute. You are as strong as your weakest point. Your carefully built strength means nothing if your endurance fails. Your brilliant strategy means nothing if your will breaks. Your perfect plan means nothing if your execution falters. The enemy always attacks where you are weakest, not where you are strongest. The master strategist knows unattended weakness grows in shadow. Ignored vulnerability expands in silence. Neglected fragility deepens over time. What you refuse to face today becomes what defeats you tomorrow. What you choose not to strengthen now becomes what breaks you later. What you decide to ignore in this moment becomes what destroys you in the next. Consider how nature eliminates weakness. A tree doesn't only strengthen its tallest branches, it builds its entire structure. A river doesn't only deepen its main channel, it fortifies all its banks. An animal doesn't only develop its primary weapons, it hones all its survival tools. Your development must follow this pattern. Comprehensive, systematic, complete. Your training must be total. Physical weakness cannot be compensated for by mental strength. Emotional fragility cannot be hidden behind intellectual power. Strategic gaps cannot be covered by tactical excellence. These are not separate domains, they are interconnected battlefields. A weakness in one area eventually compromises all areas. Examine your life with merciless honesty. Where do you hesitate? That is weakness waiting to grow. Where do you make excuses? That is vulnerability preparing to expand. Where do you look away? That is fragility gathering force. These are not minor deficiencies. They are strategic threats. Requiring immediate attention, your daily practice must include weakness hunting. Regular self-assessment is not self-criticism. It is strategic intelligence gathering. Constant self-examination is not paranoia. It is tactical necessity. Ongoing self-challenge is not masochism. It is strategic strengthening. Find your weaknesses before your enemies do. Learn to recognize the signs of hidden weakness. The task you always postpone reveals a weakness in discipline. The conversation you always avoid exposes a weakness in courage. The skill you never develop points to a weakness, incompleteness. These are not random patterns. They are strategic intelligence about your vulnerable points. Your response to discovered weakness must be immediate and thorough. When you find a gap in your knowledge, fill it completely. When you identify a weakness in your skill, train it systematically. When you recognize a vulnerability in your character, strengthen it deliberately. Partial solutions to fundamental weaknesses are strategic suicide. Build systems that expose weakness automatically. Regular tests of your capabilities, periodic challenges to your comfort, systematic examination of your methods. These are not punishments. They are strategic tools. They reveal what needs strengthening before it becomes what causes failure. Your strengthening must be progressive. Today's strength becomes tomorrow's weakness if not continuously developed. Today's solution becomes tomorrow's vulnerability if not constantly upgraded. Today's advantage becomes tomorrow's liability if not regularly enhanced. Static strength is eventual weakness. Watch for the temptation to avoid weakness work, the urge to focus only on your strengths, the desire to stay in your comfort zone, the tendency to ignore difficult development. These are not preferences, they are strategic traps. They feel comfortable, but lead to catastrophic vulnerability. Remember, the most dangerous weaknesses are not those that are obvious, they are those that remain hidden. The most critical vulnerabilities are not those you can see, they are those you refuse to acknowledge. The most serious fragilities are not those you know about, they are those you choose to ignore. For in the end, your ultimate success will be determined not by how you deploy your strengths, but by how you eliminate your weaknesses, not by how you celebrate your power, but by how you confront your vulnerability, not by how you showcase your abilities, but by how you strengthen your deficiencies. This is the way of total mastery, the path of complete development. The ancient wisdom speaks of watching city gates, of guarding against external threats. But in your battle, the enemy has already breached the walls. It lives within your mind, speaks with your voice, and wears the mask of reason. This is an enemy more cunning than any army, more persistent than any siege. This enemy is more dangerous than any external force, for it knows your weaknesses intimately. It has studied you since birth. It knows precisely when to strike, how to deceive, and where you are most vulnerable. This enemy is your own resistance, your own self-sabotage, your own divided mind, and until you recognize its patterns, you will forever fight a losing battle. Procrastination is not merely delay, it is tactical warfare against your future self. When you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you are not making a schedule. You are surrendering territory. Every time you postpone what matters, you cede ground to the enemy. This is how empires of potential crumble, not in grand battles, but in small surrenders. Each moment of postponement is a victory for the forces that would keep you mediocre. Your impulses are not random urges, they are calculated strikes against your discipline. When you reach for the phone instead of the book, when you choose comfort over growth, these are not moments of weakness. They are enemy operations, designed to keep you in familiar territory, away from the front lines of growth. The enemy knows that your transformation happens in moments of focus, so it attacks precisely when you attempt to concentrate. Fear. This is the enemy's masterpiece. It disguises itself as wisdom, as protection, as rational thought. "Be careful," it whispers. "Stay safe. Don't risk. Don't try." It presents itself as a shield, but it is a prison. Fear is not protecting you. It is containing you. It speaks of safety, but delivers stagnation. This is how the enemy maintains control, by making the cage feel like shelter. The voice of doubt is not your conscience. It is enemy propaganda. When it tells you you're not ready, you're not good enough, it's too late, these are not truths. They are psychological operations designed to maintain the status quo. The enemy knows that if you believe these thoughts, you will defeat yourself without it having to lift a finger. Your habits of distraction are not personal choices. They are supply lines feeding the enemy. Every notification, every mindless scroll, every moment of digital hypnosis is resources delivered directly to the forces working against your growth. The enemy has learned that it doesn't need to destroy your dreams. It merely needs to distract you from them. The most dangerous aspect of this enemy is its ability to hide in plain sight. It makes its sabotage feel natural, its resistance feel normal, its deception feel like common sense. This is why most people never defeat it. They never even recognize they're under attack. They attribute their failure to bad luck, to circumstances, to anything but the true source. But you now see the truth. You recognize that every internal obstacle is not a wall, but a warrior sent to stop you. Your laziness is not a character flaw, it is an enemy agent. Your excuses are not reasons. They are enemy intelligence designed to mislead you. Your comfort zone is not a refuge. It is occupied territory. This recognition is your first victory. For in seeing these forces for what they are, you strip them of their greatest power, their invisibility. Now you can fight back, not blindly, not randomly, but with strategy and purpose. From this moment forward, treat every self-sabotaging thought as an enemy transmission, every impulse to quit as an enemy assault, every excuse as enemy deception. This is not paranoia. This is strategy. For in war, the general who cannot identify enemy operations is destined for defeat. Remember, the enemy inside the gate is counting on your ignorance, your denial, your willingness to believe its lies. But now you know, now you see, and what is seen can be defeated. The war for your potential begins with recognizing the true nature of your internal opposition. Only then can you mount an effective counteroffensive. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. This truth, ancient in my time, is eternal in yours. The greatest victories are not won in moments of crisis. They are secured long before the battle begins. This is the way of the strategic warrior, the path of the prepared mind. Most wait for motivation to strike like lightning, for inspiration to arrive like a gift from heaven. They believe victory comes in moments of passionate action. This is the thinking of amateurs. The master knows true victory is engineered in silence, built in shadow, secured before the sun rises. Consider the archer. When does the arrow truly find its mark? Not in the moment of release, but in the thousands of practice shots taken when no one was watching. Not in the final aim, but in the countless hours of perfecting stance, breath, and focus. The victory is won in the preparation, not the performance. Your morning routine is not just a schedule, it is a strategic fortification. Every habit you build is a weapon being sharpened. Every system you implement is a battle formation being perfected. While others sleep, while others waste their hours, you are quietly building an unassailable position. The fool waits for the perfect moment to begin. The warrior creates perfect moments through preparation. When you establish your evening routine to ensure quality sleep, you are winning tomorrow's battle today. When you prepare your workspace in advance, you eliminate the friction that would slow your advance. When you plan your day with precision, you are already securing victory. Set traps for your future weakness. Place obstacles in the path of your potential failure. This is strategic thinking. Remove the junk food from your house before hunger strikes. Delete the social media apps before distraction takes hold. Schedule your training sessions as unbreakable appointments. You are not just planning. You are waging preemptive warfare against your own potential for defeat. The master strategist knows willpower is a finite resource, not to be wasted in unnecessary skirmishes. Build systems that make success automatic, failure difficult. Your environment should be a fortress that protects your focus, not a battlefield that drains your resolve. Every object, every schedule, every routine should serve your strategy. Learn to recognize the sound of silence. It is the music of preparation. While others broadcast their intentions, while they speak of their future victories, you build in quiet. Let them talk. You know that real power moves without noise, that true strategy unfolds without announcement. Your preparation must be holistic. Train your body before it's tested. Strengthen your mind before it's challenged. Build your resources before they're needed. The time to dig a well is not when you're thirsty. The time to forge alliances is not when you're under attack. The time to develop skills is not when they're desperately needed. Remember this. Every great failure can be traced back to a lack of preparation. Every sudden collapse was years in the making. The warrior who appears to fall in a single moment actually fell long ago in all the moments they failed to prepare. But preparation is not paralysis. You do not prepare forever. You prepare strategically, efficiently, with clear purpose. Each preparation should bring you closer to action, not serve as an excuse for delay. The difference between preparation and procrastination lies in the intention, in the timeline, in the concrete steps toward engagement. From this day forward, see every moment of preparation as a moment of victory. Your discipline in planning, your dedication to practice, your commitment to preparation, these are not merely tasks. They are battles being won in advance. While others focus on the visible fight, you focus on the invisible victory. For when the moment of challenge arrives, and it will arrive, you will not need to prepare, you will simply execute. And in that execution, all will see the power of strategy, the advantage of preparation, the wisdom of winning before the battle begins. If you do not know the mountains and forests, the dangerous defiles, the marshes and swamps, you cannot march with an army. If you do not use local guides, you cannot get the advantages of the ground. Now understand this, your mind is the most treacherous terrain of all. Every thought pattern is a path through this terrain. Every belief is a mountain that either protects or imprisons you. Every habit is a river that either nourishes or drowns your ambitions. But most wander through this landscape blindly, never mapping their own territory, never understanding their own ground. To master your mind, you must first become its cartographer. Map your triggers. What causes your retreat? Chart your patterns. Where do you lose battles most often? Survey your mental fortifications, which beliefs serve as walls against progress. This is not mere self-reflection. This is strategic reconnaissance. Your attention is the most valuable territory you possess, yet how easily you surrender it to invaders. Every distraction that captures your focus is an enemy occupying your ground. Every scattered thought that pulls you from your purpose is a rebel force disrupting your supply lines. A mind that wanders is a kingdom without borders, vulnerable to every passing invasion. Learn to recognize the topology of your thoughts. Some thoughts are valleys, places where you naturally descend into darkness and defeat. Some are peaks, vantage, points of clarity and vision. Some are swamps where your energy and resolve get drained in endless cycles of doubt. Know these landscapes, name them. Only then can you navigate them strategically. Your emotional terrain is equally critical. Anger is a volatile province that can either fuel your advance or burn your bridges. Fear is a treacherous marsh that appears solid but can swallow armies whole. Enthusiasm is a swift river that can carry you forward or sweep you off course. Master of mind is master of terrain. Learn to use each territory to your advantage. The untrained mind is a wilderness. The trained mind is a garden. But between these states lies the battlefield where you must wage your campaign. Every moment of meditation is a clearing of ground. Every practiced focus is a fortification built. Every controlled response is a supply line secured. Most try to fight their thoughts directly. This is the strategy of fools. You cannot defeat a thought by thinking about not thinking it. Instead, establish new supply lines, create alternative routes, build stronger fortifications. The skilled general knows it is better to occupy advantageous ground than to attack an enemy entrenched. Your habits are the roads through your mental territory. The more traveled they become, the easier they are to follow. This is why breaking old habits is like fighting an uphill battle. You are literally struggling against established terrain. Victory comes not from fighting old paths, but from building new ones, making them more accessible, more appealing, more strategically sound. Time spent understanding your mind is not time wasted. Every great general studies their territory in times of peace, so they are never surprised in times of war. Learn your patterns in moments of calm, so you can navigate them in moments of crisis. Know your mental weather, what conditions lead to storms of doubt, what atmospheres breed clarity. The mastery of mental terrain requires constant vigilance. Your mind is not a static battlefield. It shifts, it changes, it evolves. What was solid ground yesterday may be quicksand today. What was a barrier last week may become a bridge tomorrow. Stay alert to these changes. Keep your maps updated. Never assume you know all there is to know about your own territory. Establish watchtowers in your mind. practices that give you perspective. Meditation, reflection, strategic planning. These are not mere activities. They are elevated positions from which you can survey your mental landscape, spot approaching enemies, and direct your forces with precision. Remember, the greatest generals in history won their victories not through superior numbers, but through superior knowledge of terrain. In the battle for your destiny, your mind is both the territory and the army. Know it completely. Map it carefully. Guard it vigilantly, for when you truly understand your mental terrain, every rise and fall, every secure position, and vulnerable point, you will move through life not as a wanderer, but as a strategist. Not as a victim of your thoughts, but as their commander. This is the true meaning of mental mastery. In ancient battles, the army that acted on emotion was the army that died on emotion. The general who let anger guide his strategy left his men in graves. The commander who made decisions from fear led his forces to defeat. This truth remains eternal. Emotion is the enemy of precision, and precision is the master of victory. Yet look how you wage your daily battles. A moment of frustration derails your diet. A flash of impatience ruins your investment strategy. A surge of enthusiasm launches projects you never finish. You let your emotions command your actions, then wonder why you keep losing the same battles over and over again. Understand this. Emotions are like weather on a battlefield. They are conditions to be observed, factored into strategy, but never allowed to dictate command. When you feel anger rising, recognize it as a condition of the field, not an order to be followed. When fear appears, treat it as fog on the battlefield, something to navigate, not something to let halt your advance. The master strategist develops a practice of emotional observation without emotional obligation. Feel the fury, but act from strategy. Experience the fear, but move from calculation. Let the enthusiasm flow, but execute from precision. Your emotions are information, nothing more. They are reports from the field, not commands from headquarters. This is not a call for coldness. It is a demand for clarity. The greatest generals felt deeply for their men, but they made decisions based on strategy, not sentiment. They understood that precision in action is the highest form of care. An army led by emotion dies. An army led by strategy lives to fight. Another day, look at your last 10 decisions. How many were made from emotional impulse? How many from strategic calculation? Every choice made in anger is a battle fought on enemy terrain. Every action taken from fear is a retreat before the fighting begins. Every project launched purely from excitement is a campaign without supply lines. Precision requires distance. Learn to step back from the immediate emotion and see the entire battlefield. When an opportunity excites you, force yourself to examine it with cold logic. When a challenge angers you, make yourself analyze it with strategic detachment. This space between feeling and action, this is where wisdom lives. Your daily tasks are not separate from this principle. The warrior who trains only when inspired builds no reliable strength. The student who studies only when motivated gains no lasting knowledge. The leader who leads only when energized commands no lasting loyalty. Precision means executing regardless of emotional weather. Build systems that run on precision, not passion. Passion is a fire that burns hot and dies quick. Precision is a blade that cuts true every time. Let your workout routine be so precise it requires no emotional fuel. Let your work habits be so exact they continue through any mood. Let your decisions be so strategically sound they need no emotional justification. This is how you build an undefeatable force. Through actions so precise they become inevitable. Through strategies so clear they execute themselves. Through decisions so well reasoned they resist emotional interference. Your emotions will still rise and fall like tides, but your actions will move forward with the precision of a master archer's arrow. When others are enslaved by their emotions, you will be free. in your precision. When they are tossed by the winds of feeling, you will move with calculated purpose. When they exhaust themselves in emotional chaos, you will advance with strategic clarity. The way of precision is not easy. It requires constant vigilance against the seduction of emotional reaction. It demands the discipline to pause, to analyze, to choose response over reaction. But this is the price of mastery. This is the cost of victory. Remember, in the moment of decision, emotion shouts while precision whispers. Learn to listen for the whisper. Train yourself to trust the quiet voice of strategy over the loud cry of immediate feeling. For in the end, it is not how strongly you feel, but how precisely you act that determines your success. Let others be slaves to their emotions. You will be master of your actions. Let them ride the waves of feeling. You will navigate by the stars of strategy. This is the way of precision. This is the path to victory. The general who seizes the first move dictates the entire battle. This is not merely ancient wisdom. It is the fundamental law of strategic warfare. Yet in your daily battles, you consistently surrender this advantage. You let circumstances make the first move. You let others set the tone. You let the day control you, instead of you controlling the day. Understand this truth. The first move is not just an action. It is a position of power. When you wake and immediately check your phone, you have let the world make the first move. When you start your day reacting to others' demands, you have already lost strategic advantage. When you let your environment dictate your actions, you fight from a position of weakness. The master strategist knows victory is determined in the first moments of engagement. The army that chooses the ground, that strikes with purpose, that moves with clarity, this army already holds the advantage. Your first action of the day is not just a task completed, it is a strategic position secured. This principle extends beyond the morning hours. In every situation, in every interaction, in every challenge, there is power in the first move. The first words in a negotiation set the tone. The first moments of a meeting establish the dynamic. The first steps of a project determine its direction. These are not mere beginnings. They are strategic positions being secured or surrendered. But understand, controlling the first move does not mean acting with haste. The fool rushes in without strategy, claiming to seize initiative, but actually surrendering advantage. True control of the first move comes from preparation, from clarity, from strategic positioning. It is not about being first to act, but being first to act with purpose. Learn to recognize the moments that determine trajectory, the first hour of your day, the first response to a challenge, the first steps in a new endeavor. These are not random moments. They are strategic opportunities. Each is a chance to seize advantage, to establish position, to control the battlefield before the battle truly begins. Your habits must reflect this understanding. Prepare your first moves in advance. Set your environment to support your initial actions. Remove obstacles that would prevent you from seizing early advantage. The general who must clear his tent before he can view the battlefield has already lost precious position. Consider how often you surrender this advantage. You let emails dictate your priorities. You let others' urgency become your emergency. You let circumstance decide your schedule. Each time you do this, you give away the power of the first move. You let others determine the battlefield on which you must fight. The strategy of the first move must become instinctive. When a problem arises, strike first with questions that frame the discussion. When an opportunity appears, move first with clear conditions. When a day begins, seize control with predetermined actions. Let others react to your position, not the other way around. But remember, the power of the first move lies not in aggression, but in strategic positioning. Sometimes the strongest first move is silence. Sometimes it is observation. Sometimes it is a carefully chosen question. The goal is not to act first, but to control the direction of what follows. Train yourself to recognize the critical moment of engagement. In a conversation, it is the opening statement. In a negotiation, it is the initial position. In a day, it is the first hour. In a project, it is the opening phase. These moments are not like others. They are opportunities for strategic advantage that, once lost, cannot be easily regained. Make your first moves so consistent, so strategic, that they become a form of psychological warfare. Let others know that you will always act with purpose, that you will always move with clarity, that you will always maintain control of the initial position. This reputation itself becomes a strategic advantage. Remember, the one who controls. The first move controls the game. The one who seizes initial position commands the battlefield. The one who acts with strategic clarity shapes reality itself. Do not surrender this advantage. Do not give away this power. In every situation, in every challenge, in every opportunity, make the first move a calculated strike. All warfare is based on deception. When capable, appear incapable. When active, appear inactive. When near, appear far. These principles of war remain unchanged since ancient times, yet few understand their application in the modern battlefield. Of personal achievement, the masses announce their every move. They broadcast their goals on social media. They speak endlessly of their ambitions. They reveal their strength before it is fully formed, and in doing so, they invite unnecessary resistance, premature judgment, and early opposition. This is the strategy of fools. The wise warrior understands. True power moves in silence. When you are building something significant, let others underestimate you. When you are developing your skills, let them think you are stagnant. When you are close to breakthrough, let them believe you are far behind. This is not deception for deception's sake. It is strategic positioning. Consider the bamboo tree. For 5 years, it appears to do nothing. Below ground, an extensive root system develops in silence. Then, in the 6th year, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Those who don't understand strategy call it an overnight success. Those who know better recognize the power of invisible preparation. Your growth should follow this pattern. Let your visible actions be the tip of the iceberg, the small portion others can see. Below the surface, build your real strength. Study while others sleep. Train while others talk. Plan while others post. The less they see of your preparation, the more they will be shocked by your results. This principle applies in every arena. In business, let competitors underestimate your market position. In negotiations, let others mistake your preparation for hesitation. In personal development, let the world think you are standing still while you are building momentum. The advantage always goes to the one whose true position remains unknown. But understand, this is not about being weak. It is about appearing non-threatening while building genuine strength. It is about choosing when and where to reveal your power. The amateur feels compelled to prove themselves at every turn. The master knows that power demonstrated too early is power wasted. Learn to find strength in being underestimated. When others dismiss you, they give you the freedom to work without scrutiny. When they ignore you, they grant you the space to innovate without interference. When they undervalue you, they provide you the opportunity to surpass their expectations dramatically. Your daily practices should reflect this wisdom. Keep your methods private. Guard your progress. Share your results, not your process. Let your achievements speak with the sudden clarity of lightning, while your preparation moves with the silence of clouds gathering. This requires ego control. The immature warrior feels the constant need to prove their worth, to showcase their knowledge, to demonstrate their power. The mature warrior knows that every premature revelation of strength is a strategic opportunity lost. They understand that the ego's need for recognition is the enemy of strategic advantage. In meetings, learn to listen more than you speak. In conflicts, learn to understand before being understood. In competition, learn to observe before being Observed. These are not positions of weakness. They are positions of strategic advantage. While others reveal their thoughts, you gather intelligence. While they expose their strategies, you refine yours. Even in victory, maintain this principle. When you succeed, let others speak of your achievements. When you win, let your results make the noise. When you reach your goals, let your accomplishments do the talking. The moment you begin to boast is the moment you begin to lose your advantage. Remember, the highest form of strategy is to be like water, appearing soft and yielding while possessing unstoppable force. Let others mistake your calm for weakness. Let them confuse your silence for inaction. Let them interpret your patience for lack of ambition. For when you finally move with your full strength, their surprise will be your greatest advantage. The greatest victories are won in empty arenas. The strongest warriors are forged in private battles. The most powerful discipline is built where no one watches, where no one applauds, where no one offers validation. This is the way of true mastery, a path walked in solitude, measured not in public acclaim, but in private conquest. Most seek the spotlight before they have earned it. They want recognition for their intentions rather than their results. They pursue the appearance of discipline rather than its essence. They train when others watch, then falter when alone. This is not the way of the warrior. This is the path of the performer. Understand this. Real discipline has no audience. It is the war you wage when no one is watching. It is the battle you fight in the dark hours before dawn. It is the victory you secure when there are no witnesses. These private moments, these silent battles, these are what separate the master from the amateur. Your most important training happens in silence. The meditation practiced alone in your room, the skills refined in solitary concentration, the habits built through quiet consistency. These are not moments of deprivation. They are moments of power. In silence, you hear the voice of discipline. Most clearly, in solitude, you forge the strongest bonds with your purpose. Consider the blade being forged. Its strength is not built in display, but in darkness, in the heat of the forge, in the strike of the hammer, in the quiet precision of the craftsman. The blade cares nothing for who watches its making. It knows only the truth of its tempering. Your discipline must be built the same way. The world will tell you to share every step, to broadcast every achievement, to seek validation for every effort. Resist this. Let others display their process while you perfect yours. Let them seek approval while you seek mastery. Let them count likes while you count results. True discipline needs no witnesses. It needs only your unwavering commitment. Build your morning routine not for Instagram, but for power. Create your habits not for show, but for strength. Design your practices not for others' approval, but for your own evolution. The discipline that seeks attention is no discipline at all. It is merely performance wearing discipline's clothes. In ancient times, warriors would train in secret, developing techniques that enemies never saw until the moment of combat. Your discipline must be built the same way. Let your results be the first indication of your power. Let your achievements be the first evidence of your discipline. Let your success be the first sign of your dedication. This private discipline becomes a form of hidden power. While others exhaust themselves seeking validation, you conserve your energy for growth. While they fragment their focus with constant sharing, you maintain pure concentration on improvement. While they dilute their efforts with premature celebration, you compound your strength in silence. Understand, every time you share your plans before they are realized, you leak precious energy. Every time you seek praise for process rather than results, you weaken your resolve. Every time you allow others to witness your discipline before it is fully formed, you invite interference with its development. Your daily practices must reflect this understanding. Train when others sleep. Study when others socialize. Build when others boast. Let your discipline be like the roots of a great tree, invisible to the world, yet providing unshakable strength. The deeper these roots grow in private, the higher your success will reach in public. This is not about secrecy. It is about strategic focus. It is about understanding that the energy required for display is energy stolen from development. It is about recognizing that true discipline grows strongest in the soil of solitude, watered by consistent private effort, nourished by quiet dedication. Remember, the discipline that needs an audience is not discipline at all. The strength that requires recognition is not true strength. The power that seeks validation is not real power. Build your discipline in darkness. Forge your habits in silence. Let your results be the only evidence of your dedication. For in the end, it is not who saw you train that matters, it is who sees you triumph. In warfare, a general who cannot protect his supply lines cannot sustain his campaign. An army that cannot defend its resources cannot maintain its advance. Your energy is no different. It is the supreme resource in the campaign of your life. Yet most squander this precious supply, leaving their borders unguarded, their resources unprotected, their power exposed to every passing raid. Understand this fundamental truth. Your energy is territory that must be defended. Every pointless argument you engage in is an enemy raid on your resources. Every toxic relationship you maintain is an occupied province draining your supplies. Every unnecessary drama you participate in is a battle you fight for someone else's. Cause depleting your forces for no strategic gain. The master strategist knows not every battle that presents itself deserves your forces. Not every conflict that arises warrants your engagement. Not every challenge that appears requires your response. Learn to distinguish between battles that advance your campaign and skirmishes that merely drain your resources. Your emotional energy is your most valuable territory. Guard it vigilantly. When drama approaches your borders, do not open the gates. When provocation scouts your walls, do not send out your forces. When petty conflicts seek to engage your army, maintain your position. These are not battles worth fighting. They are distractions designed to deplete your strength. Consider how you deploy your forces. Each day, you have a finite supply of energy to allocate. Every time you engage with negativity, you divert resources from your true objectives. Every moment spent in unnecessary conflict is a moment your forces are not advancing your real campaign. Every hour invested in drama is an hour your army is not conquering meaningful territory. Build fortifications around your energy. Create boundaries that protect your resources. Establish clear borders that others must respect. These are not walls of isolation. They are strategic defenses that ensure your power remains concentrated on worthy objectives. Just as a nation must protect its borders to protect its resources, you must protect your boundaries to protect your energy. Learn to recognize raids on your territory. The colleague who constantly brings their problems to your desk. The friend who drains your energy with endless negativity. The social media feeds that pillage your attention. These are not innocent exchanges. They are attacks on your resources. Treat them as such. Develop protocols for energy defense. Just as a fortress has procedures for responding to different levels of threat, you must have strategies for protecting your energy against various forms of drain. Some situations require full withdrawal. Others need diplomatic deflection. Still others demand firm boundaries. Learn to deploy these defenses strategically. Your time is a precious province of your energy territory. Guard it as you would guard a valuable resource. When others seek to waste it with meaningless meetings, defend it. When distractions attempt to invade it, protect it. When poor planning threatens to squander it, fortify it. Every minute lost is energy that could have been invested in your true campaign. Master the art of strategic retreat. Just as a wise general knows when to withdraw forces to protect resources, you must know when to disengage to preserve energy. This is not surrender. It is strategic conservation. Better to retreat from a draining situation than to deplete your forces in a battle that serves no purpose. Watch for signs of energy siege. When you feel constantly drained, your territory is under attack. When you find yourself exhausted by simple tasks, your resources are being depleted. When you have no strength for important battles, your supply lines have been compromised. These are not minor issues. They are strategic emergencies that demand immediate response. Implement energy conservation measures. Create quiet periods where your forces can rest and recover. Establish sacred territories where no drama is allowed to enter. Build alliance with those who energize rather than drain you. These are not luxuries. They are strategic necessities. For maintaining your power, remember, a general who cannot protect his resources cannot sustain his campaign. A warrior who cannot defend his energy cannot maintain his advance. Your power lies not just in how you use your energy, but in how you protect it. Guard it as territory, defend it as resources, preserve it as power. For in the end, the battles you choose not to fight may be as important as the ones you do. The most dangerous spy is not the one in your camp, it is the one in your mind. Your own thoughts can be enemy agents, feeding you false intelligence, sabotaging your plans, undermining your strength. This spy speaks with your voice, knows your weaknesses, and strikes when you are most vulnerable. Its name is self-doubt, and it has caused more defeats than any external enemy. Understand this: your mind will lie to you with perfect precision. It will tell you you're too tired when you have strength remaining. It will convince you you're not ready when you are prepared. It will whisper that you're incapable when you have already proven your worth. These are not random thoughts. They are tactical strikes designed to keep you in familiar territory. The master strategist knows the voice of doubt is not the voice of wisdom. When it tells you to rest, it means to retreat. When it urges caution, it plots surrender. When it counsels delay, it engineers defeat. This voice has studied you since birth. It knows exactly how to phrase its propaganda to sound like rational thought. But here is the key to victory: expect this resistance. Plan for it, train for it. When you approach any significant objective, know that this internal enemy will activate. When you push toward any meaningful goal, anticipate its counterattack. When you strive for any real growth, prepare for its sabotage campaign. Your doubt is not a wall. It is a warrior sent to stop you. Your fear is not a feeling. It is a strategy deployed against you. Your hesitation is not natural. It is a tactical maneuver designed to halt your advance. See these for what they are: combat operations launched by your own mind against your potential. Train yourself to recognize the patterns of internal deception. When you feel sudden fatigue as you approach your goals, identify it as psychological warfare. When you experience unexpected uncertainty before important actions, name it as enemy propaganda. When you find yourself making excuses, expose them as strategic misdirection. Build counterintelligence operations against your own doubt. When it says you can't, have evidence of past successes ready. When it claims you're not ready, have proof of your preparation prepared. When it whispers you'll fail, have a record of your victories at hand. These are not affirmations. They are tactical responses to enemy disinformation. Your training must include resistance inoculation. Just as a soldier trains with extra weight to be stronger in actual combat, you must train with the expectation of doubt to be stronger in actual challenges. Don't wait for doubt to strike. Anticipate it. Plan for it. Make it part of your strategic calculations. Develop protocols for doubt encounters. When it arises, do not engage it in debate, that is, fighting on its chosen ground. Instead, have predetermined responses ready. When it questions your ability, execute your next action immediately. When it suggests delay, accelerate your pace. When it predicts failure, intensify your focus. Transform doubt from enemy to ally. Just as skilled generals turn enemy spies into double agents, learn to use doubt as a targeting system. When it arises, recognize you must be approaching something significant. When it intensifies, understand you must be near a breakthrough. When it screams loudest, know you must be on the right path. Your daily practices must reflect this understanding. Train not just for physical or mental challenge, but for psychological warfare. Build habits that override doubt's intelligence. Gathering. Establish routines that continue regardless of internal resistance. Create systems that execute despite mental counterattacks. Remember this crucial strategy. The stronger the doubt, the more immediate must be your action. When uncertainty rises, strike faster. When fear grows, advance harder. When hesitation builds, attack quicker. This is not reckless aggression, it is tactical response to psychological warfare. Learn to find power in doubt's presence. When it appears, tell yourself, here is proof I'm pushing limits. When it speaks, recognize, here is evidence I'm leaving comfort. When it fights, understand, here's confirmation I'm growing stronger. This is not positive thinking. It is strategic reframing of enemy intelligence. For in the end, the greatest victories are not won over external obstacles, but over internal resistance. The fiercest battles are not fought in the world, but in the mind. The strongest warrior is not the one who never feels doubt, but the one who expects it, prepares for it, and advances regardless of its operations. Train for this truth. Plan for this reality. Fight with this understanding. The supreme warrior embodies two seemingly opposing forces, the fluidity of water and the intensity of fire. Water adapts to any container, finds any path, overcomes any obstacle through persistent flow. Fire transforms what it touches, moves, with unstoppable force, consumes resistance in its advance. This is not contradiction. This is completion. This is the way of strategic mastery. Most choose one approach and cling to it. They are either rigid in their methods and break under pressure, or so flexible they never maintain enough force to achieve their objectives. They try to be all water and lose their impact, or all fire and burn out their resources. Both paths lead to defeat. The master strategist knows true power lies in the unity of adaptation and intensity. Understand this principle. Methods are fluid, objectives are fixed. Your goals should be as immovable as mountains, but your approach to reaching them should flow like rivers. When one path is blocked, water does not argue with the obstacle. It finds another route. When one strategy fails, fire does not question its nature. It intensifies its advance. This is how you must operate in your daily battles. When your morning routine is disrupted, adapt like water. Find another way to achieve your objectives. When obstacles appear in your path, attack like fire. Transform them into opportunities. The goal remains constant, but the tactics shift with circumstances. Learn to read the terrain of each moment. Different situations require different elements of your nature. Sometimes you must flow around resistance. Engaging in direct combat would waste your forces. Other times you must burn through barriers. Adaptation would only delay your advance. Wisdom lies in knowing which force to embody in each situation. Your training must develop both qualities. Practice adaptability in your methods. Learn multiple ways to achieve each objective. Cultivate intensity in your execution. Develop the power to break through when necessary. The warrior who can only flow is easily contained. The warrior who can only burn quickly exhausts their fuel. In negotiation, be like water, fluid, adaptable, finding paths of least resistance toward your goals. In action, be like fire, focused, intense, transforming obstacles into opportunities. In learning, be like water, taking the shape of new knowledge without resistance. In applying knowledge, be like fire, focused intensity that produces results. Consider how water shapes a stone, not through immediate force, but through consistent, adaptable pressure applied over time. Consider how fire transforms materials, not through gradual wearing down, but through intense, focused heat. Both achieve their objectives, but through different means. Both are necessary in your strategic arsenal. Your responses to challenge must embody this duality. When faced with opposition, first flow like water. Observe, Adapt. Find openings. Then, when the path is clear, strike like fire. Focused, intense, unstoppable. This is not indecision. It is tactical sophistication. This is not weakness. It is strategic wisdom. Build your daily practices with this understanding. Some days require the adaptability of water, flowing around unexpected obstacles, finding new paths to your objectives. Other days demand the intensity of fire, burning through resistance, transforming challenges through focused action. Learn to read each day's requirements and respond appropriately. Watch for the signs of imbalance in your approach. If you find yourself constantly fighting against resistance, you have forgotten how to flow. If you find yourself never making decisive progress, you have forgotten how to burn. Neither extreme serves your strategy. Power lies in the ability to shift between these forces as circumstances require. Your mind must maintain this same duality. Be adaptable in your thinking, able to see situations from multiple angles, ready to adjust your approach when necessary. Be intense in your focus, able to concentrate your full force on priority objectives, ready to break through when opportunity appears. Remember, water can carve canyons or calmly fill a cup. Fire can forge steel or warm a home. True power lies not in choosing between these forces, but in mastering both. Be fluid in your methods, fierce in your execution. Adapt like water, strike like fire. For in this balance lies the secret of unstoppable advance, the ability to flow around any obstacle and burn through any resistance. The deepest strategies move like shadows, unseen until their effects emerge. The greatest victories are often invisible until they are complete. Yet, in this age of constant sharing, of endless announcement, of perpetual revelation, most warriors forfeit this advantage. They speak of their plans before they are ready, reveal their strategies before they are proven, celebrate their victories before they are secured. Understand this ancient truth. The strategy revealed is the strategy compromised. Every time you announce your intentions, you give power to resistance. Every time you share your methods, you invite interference. Every time you broadcast your plans, you create obstacles to their completion. The wise general keeps their true strategy hidden, letting others see only what serves the greater objective. This is not about deception. It is about strategic advantage. When you declare, "I am starting a business," you awaken competition. When you announce, "I am writing a book," you invite premature judgment. When you share, "I am transforming my life," you trigger resistance. The world does not need to know your plans. It needs to see your results. Consider the master painter. They do not display their work half-finished, inviting criticism before the vision is complete. They do not explain their technique while still perfecting it. They work in the silence of their studio, revealing only the completed masterpiece. Your life's work deserves the same strategic protection. Your ambitions are military secrets. Treat them as such. Build your strength in silence. Develop your skills in shadow. Perfect your methods behind closed doors. Let your progress be like an underground river, invisible on the surface, yet carving powerful channels beneath. The less others know of your true capability, the more freedom you have to develop it. Learn the art of strategic silence. When others ask your plans, be general in your response. When they probe your methods, be vague in your explanation. When they seek your secrets, be mysterious in your reply. This is not rudeness, it is tactical wisdom. The less they know, the less they can interfere. Watch how nature conceals its most powerful processes. A seed does not announce its intention to become a tree. It simply grows in darkness. An earthquake does not broadcast its gathering force. It builds pressure in silence. Your most transformative work should follow this pattern, invisible in development, undeniable in result. Your daily practices must reflect this principle. Keep your morning routine private. It is your tactical advantage. Guard your strategic thinking. It is your battle plan. Protect your methods of advancement. They are your secret weapons. Share only what serves your strategy. Conceal what gives you edge. Build your power like a master general preparing for war, in silence, in shadow, away from prying eyes. Let others speculate about your capabilities. Let them underestimate your preparation. Let them mistake your strategic silence for inaction. Their misconception is your advantage. Understand the power of information control. Every detail you reveal is intelligence you give away. Every method you share is advantage you surrender. Every plan you announce is resistance you invite. The skilled strategist reveals only what advances their position, conceals what maintains their edge. This requires ego control. The immature warrior needs to prove their worth through constant updates, regular announcements, continuous validation. The mature warrior knows true power needs no announcement. Real progress needs no audience. Genuine transformation speaks for itself. Your victories should emerge like dawn, impossible to ignore, yet impossible to resist. While others speak of their coming achievements, you build in silence. While they seek validation for their plans, you execute without announcement. While they reveal their strategies, you keep yours hidden until the moment of maximum impact. Remember, the highest form of strategy moves unseen until it is unstoppable. The greatest plays are not announced, they are executed. The most powerful transformations do not seek permission, they emerge complete. Keep your strategy hidden. Let your results speak. For in the end, it is not your words that will prove your worth, it is the undeniable evidence of your achievement. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. This is not mere philosophy, it is the pinnacle of strategic wisdom. Yet most spend their lives in endless combat, wrestling with obstacles they could avoid, fighting battles they could transcend, exhausting themselves in conflicts that could be resolved through superior strategy. Understand this profound truth. The highest victory is not the one achieved through combat, but the one secured through position. When you must fight, you have already failed at the highest level of strategy. The master strategist wins through intelligent preparation, careful positioning, and strategic maneuvering that makes resistance futile before it begins. Consider the mountain stream. It does not fight the boulder in its path, it flows around it. It does not battle the cliff edge, it finds another route down. It does not struggle against gravity, it uses it. This is not weakness. This is not surrender. This is the expression of supreme strategic intelligence. Most mistakes are made in the mind before they manifest in reality. The argument you have with your colleague began long before words were exchanged. It started with poor positioning, with misaligned expectations, with unnecessary friction points. The master strategist eliminates these trigger points before. They can ignite conflict. Learn to recognize unnecessary battles. The need to prove you're right. This is ego asking for combat. The urge to confront every disagreement. This is pride demanding conflict. The desire to fight for fighting's sake. This is strategy surrendered to emotion. True power lies in achieving objectives without engaging in these draining skirmishes. Your daily life offers countless opportunities to practice this wisdom. When facing a potential argument, ask yourself, can this objective be achieved through better positioning? When encountering resistance, consider, can this goal be reached through an alternate route? When meeting opposition, reflect, can this outcome be secured without conflict? Build systems that make conflict unnecessary. Clear communication eliminates the need for confrontation. Proper preparation removes the ground for opposition. Strategic positioning makes resistance irrelevant. These are not acts of avoidance. They are expressions of superior strategy. Watch how nature demonstrates this principle. The wind does not fight the mountain. It shapes it over time. The river does not battle the landscape. It carves new paths through it. The tree does not combat the sun. It grows toward it. Each achieves its objective without direct conflict through intelligent adaptation and positioning. Your advance should follow this pattern. Instead of fighting against market conditions, position yourself where the market is heading. Instead of battling against circumstances, arrange yourself where circumstances work in your favor. Instead of struggling against the current, navigate to where the current aids your journey. This requires a shift in thinking. The amateur strategist sees obstacles and prepares for battle. The master strategist sees obstacles and adjusts position to make them irrelevant. The amateur thinks in terms of confrontation. The master thinks in terms of strategic advantage. Develop the art of invisible victory. When you position yourself correctly, resistance becomes futile. When you prepare thoroughly, opposition becomes pointless. When you maneuver strategically, conflict becomes unnecessary. This is not about avoiding challenge. It is about transcending it through superior strategy. Your training must include this higher understanding. Learn to read situations not for points of conflict, but for paths of strategic advantage. Train yourself to see not just what is, but what could be through proper positioning. Develop the ability to achieve objectives without creating resistance. Remember, the greatest victory is the battle not fought. The supreme strategy is the conflict avoided through intelligent positioning. The highest mastery is not in overcoming resistance, but in making resistance irrelevant through superior maneuvering. For in the end, why exhaust yourself in combat when you can achieve your objective through strategy alone? This is the way of water, the path of wisdom, the strategy of the ages. Position yourself where victory is inevitable. Prepare so thoroughly that conflict becomes unnecessary. Maneuver so strategically that resistance becomes futile. This is not passive avoidance. It is active mastery of the highest order. The foolish warrior trains only for the battles they can see. The wise warrior trains for the wars they cannot imagine. In ancient times, armies that prepared only for expected threats were destroyed by unexpected ones. Today, those who train only for visible challenges are defeated by invisible ones. The greatest threats are not those that announce themselves. They are those that strike from blind spots. Understand this critical truth. The most dangerous opponent is the one you haven't prepared for. The most devastating challenge is the one you didn't see coming. The most destructive crisis is the one you thought impossible. Yet most train only for the obvious, prepare only for the likely, fortify only against the known. This is the strategy of the amateur. The master strategist knows. Real disasters don't follow scripts. True crises don't arrive as expected, genuine. Challenges don't wait for your preparation. They strike at your weakest point, at your most vulnerable moment, in ways you never anticipated. This is why your training must extend beyond the visible horizon of likely threats. Consider how nature tests systems. It doesn't send challenges one at a time. It doesn't announce its trials in advance. It throws drought and storm, fire and flood, often simultaneously, often unexpectedly. Your preparation must match this pattern. Train not just for individual challenges, but for compound crises. Prepare not just for likely scenarios, but for devastating ones. Your training must embrace discomfort purposefully. Expose yourself to cold when it's unnecessary. Practice hunger when food is abundant. Maintain discipline when relaxation is possible. These are not acts of masochism. They are strategic preparations. By deliberately embracing controlled hardship, you build resilience for uncontrolled crisis. Build redundancy into your systems. Have multiple ways to achieve critical objectives. Develop various paths to essential goals. Create alternate methods for necessary tasks. This is not inefficiency. It is strategic depth. When crisis destroys your primary path, your alternate routes become your salvation. Train your mind for uncertainty. Most mental breakdown comes not from the crisis itself, but from the shock of the unexpected. By regularly exposing yourself to uncertainty, by deliberately placing yourself in unfamiliar situations, you build psychological resilience. When real crisis strikes, Your mind will be familiar with the unknown. Your physical preparation must follow this principle. Don't just train for strength, train for sudden demands on that strength. Don't just build endurance, build recovery capacity. Don't just develop speed, develop adaptability. The body must be ready not just for what you expect, but for what you cannot predict. Study past collapses, personal, organizational, civilizational. Not to predict exact scenarios, but to understand patterns of failure. Look for the blind spots that led to defeat. Examine the assumptions that proved fatal. These are not history lessons. They are strategic intelligence about potential future threats. Develop protocols for crisis response. Not rigid plans that depend on specific scenarios, but flexible frameworks that can adapt to unexpected challenges. The key is not to predict every possible crisis, but to build systems that can respond to any crisis. This is not paranoia, it is strategic foresight. Your daily practices must include elements of the unexpected. Change routines randomly. Introduce artificial obstacles to your tasks. Create sudden challenges for yourself. These are not disruptions of your discipline. They are strengthening of your adaptability. The more comfortable you become with sudden change, the more resilient you become to real crisis. Build reserves in every critical area. Physical energy, mental clarity, financial resources, social capital. Maintain surplus capacity in each. This is not hoarding, it is strategic buffering. When crisis strikes multiple areas simultaneously, your reserves become your resilience. Remember, the most dangerous threats are not those you can see coming. They are those that emerge from your blind spots. The most critical preparation is not for the challenges you expect. It is for those you cannot imagine. Train beyond the visible. Prepare past the probable. Build resilience beyond the reasonable, for in the end, it is not the expected challenges that determine your fate. It is your preparation for the unexpected ones. It is not the visible threats that test your strength. It is the invisible ones. Train for what you cannot see. Prepare for what you cannot predict. This is the way of the strategic warrior, the path of true resilience. No great empire was built alone. No significant victory was achieved in isolation. Yet, in the realm of personal strategy, many make the critical error of fighting every battle as a lone warrior. They mistake independence for strength, solitude for security. The master strategist knows better. Alliances, chosen carefully and cultivated quietly, multiply your force without depleting your resources. Understand this fundamental principle. Not every person in your life is an ally. Not every friendly face is a strategic partner. Not every pleasant interaction is a meaningful alliance. True strategic partnerships are rare. They are built on mutual strength, maintained through mutual benefit, and protected by mutual discretion. The first rule of alliance building: choose with strategic precision. Most spread their trust too widely, dilute their connections too thinly, invest their energy in too many superficial relationships. This is not networking, it is strategic waste. Better to have 5 powerful allies than 500 casual connections. Quality of alliance outweighs quantity every time. Watch how nature forms alliances. Trees share resources through underground networks, but only with those that prove beneficial to the forest's survival. Animals form partnerships, but only with those that enhance their chances of success. Your alliances must follow this pattern: selective, strategic, survival-enhancing. Your inner circle is not a social club, it is a war council. Choose its members accordingly. Look for those who bring complementary strengths, who understand strategic thinking, who maintain operational security. These are not mere friends. They are fellow warriors on parallel campaigns. Their success strengthens your position. Their advancement creates strategic opportunities. Build these alliances in silence. The strongest partnerships are not announced on social media, not broadcast to the world, not displayed for public consumption. They operate in quiet, grow in shadow, strengthen through discreet mutual support. Let others underestimate your connections. Their Ignorance is your advantage. Study potential allies before engaging. Watch how they handle adversity. Observe how they treat their existing alliances. Notice how they operate under pressure. These are not casual observations. They are strategic intelligence gathering. The ally who proves unreliable in small matters will fail you in critical moments. Your alliances must be based on strength, not need. The desperate search for help attracts predators, not partners. Build your own power first. Develop your own capabilities. Establish your own position. Then form alliances from a place of strength. This creates partnerships of mutual respect rather than dependencies of mutual desperation. Maintain strategic distance even within alliances. Never reveal all your capabilities. Never share all your resources. Never expose all your plans. This is not distrust, it is tactical wisdom. The strongest alliances are built on mutual respect for boundaries, not complete transparency. Test alliances gradually. Start with small collaborations, advance to larger ventures, scale to significant operations. This is not paranoia. It is strategic validation. The ally who proves reliable in small matters earns the right to engage in larger ones. The partner who maintains discretion in minor secrets can be trusted with major ones. Your communication within alliances must be strategic. Share what advances mutual interests. Withhold what doesn't serve the alliance. Maintain operational security even with trusted partners. This is not deception. It is professional discipline. Even the strongest allies don't need to know everything. Watch for signs of alliance degradation, the partner who begins to take more than they give, the ally who starts to breach operational security, the connection that becomes a drain rather than a force multiplier. These are not minor issues. They are strategic threats requiring immediate attention. Remember, the strongest alliances are built like fortresses, carefully designed, strategically positioned, constantly maintained. They are not formed in haste, not developed without thought, not maintained without purpose. Each alliance should serve a specific strategic function, advance a particular objective, strengthen a crucial position. For in the end, while the path of mastery may feel solitary, the summit is never reached alone. Your greatest victories will be achieved through the careful cultivation of powerful alliances. Choose wisely, build quietly, maintain strategically, for in the realm of lasting achievement, the strength of your alliances often determines the magnitude of your impact. In ancient warfare, every extra piece of equipment was a burden. Every unnecessary soldier was a liability. Every redundant supply line was a vulnerability. The armies that conquered were not those with the most resources. They were those that eliminated everything that didn't serve their strategic objective. This principle remains eternal. In the war for mastery, what you remove is often more important than what you add. Understand this critical truth. Every possession you own is either a weapon or a weight. Every commitment you make is either a strategic advantage or a tactical burden. Every relationship you maintain is either a force multiplier or an energy drain. There is no neutral ground. In the realm of strategic warfare, everything either serves your advance or impedes it. Most warriors fail not from lack of strength, but from surplus of burden. They carry too many possessions that don't serve their mission. They maintain, too, many commitments that don't advance their cause. They sustain too many relationships that don't enhance their power. This is not abundance, it is strategic disadvantage. Consider how nature eliminates the unnecessary. A tree sheds leaves that don't serve its survival. A river removes obstacles that impede its flow. An animal abandons territory that doesn't support its needs. Your strategy must follow this pattern. Ruthless elimination of everything that doesn't contribute to your objectives. Your environment is not just a space, it is a strategic position. Every object in it either supports your mission or compromises it. The stack of unread books mocks your commitment to learning. The cluttered desk defeats your attempt at focus. The disorganized space sabotages your clarity of thought. These are not mere inconveniences, they are strategic vulnerabilities. Examine your daily activities with strategic scrutiny. Every task you perform should serve your ultimate objective. Every meeting you attend should advance your position. Every commitment you maintain should strengthen your capabilities. If it doesn't serve your strategy, it serves your opponent. Distraction, mediocrity, comfort. Your time is your most critical resource. Yet look how it's invaded by unnecessary engagements, social media that adds no value, conversations that serve no purpose, activities that bring no growth. These are not harmless diversions, they are strategic defeats. Every moment spent on the unnecessary is a moment denied to the essential. Learn to recognize the forms of excess that masquerade as necessity. The endless research that poses as preparation, the constant planning that poses as progress, the perpetual networking that poses as strategy. These are not productive activities, they are sophisticated forms of procrastination, enemies disguised as allies. Your mental space requires the same strategic cleansing. Every doubt you entertain is territory surrendered to the enemy. Every unnecessary worry is energy diverted from your objective. Every redundant thought pattern is a battle line. Weakened by division, clear your mind of everything that doesn't serve your advance. Develop protocols for elimination, regular audits of your possessions, periodic reviews of your commitments, strategic assessments of your relationships. These are not acts of rejection, they are exercises in strategic focus. Everything you remove creates space for what truly matters. Your power lies not in what you can add, but in what you can eliminate. Not in what you can achieve, but in what you can remove. Not in what you can build, but in what you can strip away. This is not minimalism for its own sake. It is strategic reduction to enhance your force. Watch for signs of strategic bloat. When your movement feels sluggish, look for unnecessary weight. When your progress feels slow, examine for redundant commitments. When your energy feels drained, search for parasitic relationships. These are not minor inefficiencies. They are serious strategic threats. Remember, the most powerful force is the most focused force. The most effective strategy is the most simplified strategy. The most successful warrior is the one who carries only what serves their mission. Everything else is a liability. For in the end, your greatest victories will not come from what you acquire, but from what you eliminate, not from what you gain, but from what you release, not from what you add to your life, but from what you remove from it. This is the way of strategic elimination, the path to focused power. The greatest power moves in silence. The deepest authority speaks in whispers. The strongest command requires no shouting. Yet most mistake noise for power, confusion for activity, chaos for progress. They lead their lives like inexperienced generals, always in reaction, always in emergency, always in chaos. The master strategist knows better. True command is exercised in calm. Understand this fundamental truth. The quality of your command determines the quality of your life. A general who cannot control himself cannot control his army. A warrior who cannot command his mind cannot command his destiny. A strategist who cannot maintain calm cannot maintain advantage. Your first and most critical battlefield is internal. The mark of supreme command is not constant action. It is constant clarity. Not perpetual motion, but perpetual precision. Not endless activity, but endless awareness. The amateur commander is always busy, always stressed, always rushing. The master commander is calm, centered, deliberate. They understand chaos is the enemy of strategy. Study how nature demonstrates command. A mountain doesn't struggle to maintain its height. An ocean doesn't fight to maintain its depth. A star doesn't strain to maintain its brilliance. They simply are, powerful in their essence, commanding in their nature. Your authority must flow from the same place, not from effort, but from essence. Your presence must carry weight without carrying tension. Your words must convey power without conveying pressure. Your actions must demonstrate authority without demonstrating anxiety. This is not a performance. It is a cultivation. The calm commander is not playing a role. They are expressing their nature. Develop the art of strategic stillness. In meetings, be the last to speak. In crisis, be the calmest presence. In conflict, be the most centered voice. This is not passivity. It is power. When others rush to action, your stillness becomes a force of gravity, pulling events into your orbit rather than you being pulled into theirs. Your daily practices must build this capacity for calm command. Regular meditation is not a luxury. It is tactical training. Physical discipline is not vanity. It is strategic preparation. Mindfulness is not an option. It is operational necessity. These practices build the foundation of unshakable command. Learn to recognize the symptoms of compromised command. When your voice rises in pitch, your authority is wavering. When your movements become hurried, your control is slipping. When your decisions become reactive, your strategy is failing. These are not minor details. They are critical intelligence about the state of your command. Your environment must reflect your command. An office in chaos reflects a mind in chaos. A schedule in constant crisis reflects strategy in constant failure. A life in perpetual emergency reflects command in perpetual weakness. Order your space, your time, your resources as a general would order their camp with precision, purpose, and calm authority. Build protocols for maintaining command under pressure. When tension rises, your breathing deepens. When chaos erupts, your movement slows. When crisis strikes, your focus narrows. These are not coping mechanisms, they are command protocols. They maintain your strategic advantage when others lose their composure. Your leadership of others flows from your leadership of self. The calm you maintain in your mind reflects in your team's performance. The clarity you hold in your purpose reflects in their direction. The command you exercise over your reactions reflects in their stability. You are not just leading people, you are setting the strategic tone. Watch for signs of command degradation. When small issues start to seem like emergencies, when minor setbacks start to feel like disasters, when routine challenges start to cause stress. These are not random occurrences. They are warnings that your command center is weakening. Remember, the highest form of command looks effortless precisely because it requires complete effort. The deepest authority appears natural precisely because it is carefully cultivated. The strongest leadership feels calm precisely because it is strategically maintained. For in the end, your life will move with the quality of your command. Your success will flow with the depth of your calm. Your impact will grow with the strength of your center. This is not philosophy. It is strategy. This is not theory. It is power. This is the way of the calm commander, the path of true authority. The chain breaks at its weakest link. The fortress falls at its weakest wall. The army fails at its weakest point. This is not merely military wisdom. It is the fundamental law of strategic warfare. Yet in the battle for mastery, most warriors ignore this truth. They strengthen what is already strong, focus on what is already developed, celebrate what is already powerful. Meanwhile, their untrained weaknesses prepare their defeat. Understand this critical principle. You are not as strong as your strongest attribute. You are as strong as your weakest point. Your carefully built strength means nothing if your endurance fails. Your brilliant strategy means nothing if your will breaks. Your perfect plan means nothing if your execution falters. The enemy always attacks where you are weakest, not where you are strongest. The master strategist knows unattended weakness grows in shadow. Ignored vulnerability expands in silence. Neglected fragility deepens over time. What you refuse to face today becomes what defeats you tomorrow. What you choose not to strengthen now becomes what breaks you later. What you decide to ignore in this moment becomes what destroys you in the next. Consider how nature eliminates weakness. A tree doesn't only strengthen its tallest branches, it builds its entire structure. A river doesn't only deepen its main channel, it fortifies all its banks. An animal doesn't only develop its primary weapons, it hones all its survival tools. Your development must follow this pattern: comprehensive, systematic, complete. Your training must be total. Physical weakness cannot be compensated for by mental strength. Emotional fragility cannot be hidden behind intellectual power. Strategic gaps cannot be covered by tactical excellence. These are not separate domains, they are interconnected battlefields. A weakness in one area eventually compromises all areas. Examine your life with merciless honesty. Where do you hesitate? That is weakness waiting to grow. Where do you make excuses? That is vulnerability preparing to expand. Where do you look away? That is fragility gathering force. These are not minor deficiencies, they are strategic threats. Requiring immediate attention, your daily practice must include weakness hunting. Regular self-assessment is not self-criticism. It is strategic intelligence gathering. Constant self-examination is not paranoia. It is tactical necessity. Ongoing self-challenge is not masochism. It is strategic strengthening. Find your weaknesses before your enemies do. Learn to recognize the signs of hidden weakness. The task you always postpone reveals a weakness in discipline. The conversation you always avoid exposes a weakness in courage. The skill you never develop points to a weakness: incompleteness. These are not random patterns. They are strategic intelligence about your vulnerable points. Your response to discovered weakness must be immediate and thorough. When you find a gap in your knowledge, fill it completely. When you identify a weakness in your skill, train it systematically. When you recognize a vulnerability in your character, strengthen it deliberately. Partial solutions to fundamental weaknesses are strategic suicide. Build systems that expose weakness automatically. Regular tests of your capabilities, periodic challenges to your comfort, systematic examination of your methods. These are not punishments, they are strategic tools. They reveal what needs strengthening before it becomes what causes failure. Your strengthening must be progressive. Today's strength becomes tomorrow's weakness if not continuously developed. Today's solution becomes tomorrow's vulnerability if not constantly upgraded. Today's advantage becomes tomorrow's liability if not regularly enhanced. Static strength is eventual weakness. Watch for the temptation to avoid weakness work. The urge to focus only on your strengths. The desire to stay in your comfort zone. The tendency to ignore difficult development. These are not preferences. They are strategic traps. They feel comfortable but lead to catastrophic vulnerability. Remember, the most dangerous weaknesses are not those that are obvious. They are those that remain hidden. The most critical vulnerabilities are not those you can see. They are those you refuse to acknowledge. The most serious fragilities are not those you know about. They are those you choose to ignore. For in the end, your ultimate success will be determined not by how you deploy your strengths, but by how you eliminate your weaknesses, not by how you celebrate your power, but by how you confront your vulnerability, not by how you showcase your abilities, but by how you strengthen your deficiencies. This is the way of total mastery, the path of complete development.